Hey guys, Vlad Moldavsky here from MeetAdvisors.com. I'm joined with Scott Greenspan, CEO and founder of Span Test Prep. Scott, how are you today?
Fine, Vlad, how are you?
Great. Thanks for joining us. It's Labor Day here in Chicago. I was very excited to have you here and tell our audience exactly what is your company and what do you guys do?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Vlad. My company is Span Test Prep. We founded in the year 2000, 14 years ago, and our purpose is to prepare students on the North Shore for the high-stakes ACT test, which is becoming more and more important as the years go on. We're a premium product. We do 6 one-on-one individual tutoring sessions for each student, and we're really able to focus and tailor the course to each individual.
Tell me a little about the business model. So you mentioned that you're individual. What is the difference? Because as a former high school student, I did both courses, and I saw a different value in each.
Right.
What is the difference between individual ACT classes and taking a class like Kaplan, for example?
Okay, so I think the classroom prep courses, they tend to have students for more time. They tend to do 3 to 4 hour sessions over maybe a 10 to 12 week period. So the average student might put in 40 to 50 hours in some Kaplan-like standardized test prep course. My program, Span Test Prep, requires that the students take the practice tests, but I mostly do those as homework, so the kids can take the tests on their own time. When they come to me, they already have the test prepared, and they're able to sit down for the 1 hour session, and we're able to go over their errors and strategize and pacing and test taking strategy and content, of course. So I feel like I can do what the larger companies do in about half the time. Student really only spends about 20 to 25 hours with me total, including the test taking, and my average student increase in score is 5 points.
Phenomenal. And you mentioned 5 points, right? And a student starts your class. What are the types of things that students and parents should be looking out for when looking to improve their kids or their own ACT score? And how do you fit that criteria, and how do you step in and help guide it? Because 5 points is a serious increase.
Right.
And in a lot of times it can either make or break a student's, goals and wishes and desires for the university that they're aiming at. How does it work on your end?
Right. So the really cool thing for me is that I can work with any student, whether they started with a very low score or start with an extremely high score. If they're not getting a 34 or higher on their first ACT, they can improve. And I think that the key to the course is really a couple things. One, is the student motivated to improve? Because if they're motivated to do so, then they'll take the practice tests and they'll come to the sessions with questions and with some enthusiasm for what's happening during the sessions. Secondly, we do a lot of goal setting. So if a student wants to get into a top 10 school, if they're looking at a Northwestern or a University of Chicago or a WashU, we can work towards those goals. And I have, after each session with the student, I'm able to kind of reset and refocus the goal for what kind of score are you looking for and how are we going to get you there. Since I'm a sole proprietor and I have some tutors that work for me, we're able to really concentrate on each individual student and family. So if a parent has questions or if a student has questions and we're not in one of the sessions, they can contact me online. They all have my phone number. And so I do a lot of kind of extra coaching and talking to students and families that way.
Phenomenal. I guess I want to just change focus a little bit right now and ask, I guess here come the more entrepreneurial-minded questions is, besides for the challenges, besides for the growth, what do you see next? Because you have a very interesting platform. You've proven success. Your students have increased in their scores. You're fully booked for this upcoming, I guess, session you like to call it, the fall session. You've started to take applications and inquiries for the winter, but what's next? I know we've met before, and you've mentioned that you're looking to grow, you're looking at a way to systemize it, you're looking at a way to automate it. What is next as an entrepreneur? Obviously, you're a teacher at Glenbrook South High School in Glenview. You're a tennis coach. But, aside from all of that, how do you envision this moving forward?
Right. Yeah, so moving forward, I am at Glenbrook South still. I'm working there part-time. I'm coaching tennis, and I'm running student group there called Student to Student for the drug and alcohol-free kids. And I love all of that. I mean, I really love my job. I love my life. I did not become an entrepreneur because I was bored with what I was doing. Excuse me. I became an entrepreneur because I saw a need for kids, specifically in math, because that's my forte, my degree's in math, to grow their ACT score. And so back in 99, 2000, families and kids were coming to me like, help. There isn't a decent ACT program out there to help me with this math stuff. What am I going to do? And so I started very slowly. I worked with a couple of kids the first year and then the second year, and their scores were going up slowly. And then parents said, you know, could you help with the other sections of the test? And I got a few ACTs, and I took them, and I was, you know, fairly skilled at the English and the reading and the science. And so I felt like I could develop a curriculum. I did that over time, and then about 5 years ago, we really exploded in the sense that there was way more demand than there was supply in my area. So I'm in the Glenview Northbrook area. Parents and students were approaching me and calling me nonstop for ACT help, and that was when I decided to go part-time at Glenbrook South. I decided to hire a few teachers. We built the website, and we've really helped now over 2,000 kids in the last 14 years. I guess the dream, the next step, is to take the course from the coffee shop or from the local library and move it to some online format. So I feel like with my materials that I've written and with my philosophy of teaching and with my teachers, I can really kind of go to the next level, which is move this course to beyond just Chicagoland, to the Midwest, and maybe perhaps even nationally by having an online Skype type chat. And so we're looking for the perfect platform to do some of the individual tutoring. And then I feel like students and teachers can be anywhere. I feel like teachers are looking for extra work, many of them, and looking for extra income. And so it's a great way for me to find some really talented teachers who want to help kids on the ACT, and some students who are looking for an improved score, and bring the two together in some sort of national way. And I think online is the way to do that.
Makes sense. And while you're not online, first off, online makes sense, and it's not just about personal growth or business growth. It's also about the fact that, you know, if you have all of these students who are already improving by so much, why not reach out to more students and help more students, you know, achieve their goals, achieve their dreams, and get into the universities that they're really, you know, setting an eye on from day one when they enter high school or when they enter junior high, things like that. But, you know, how much, you know, not online, how much is your course? How much does it cost? What does a parent have to know? What does a student have to know? How do you enroll? Things like that.
Right. So the cost of the course is $1,100 per student, and that covers all of the individual meetings. That covers all of the materials, including the supplementary materials. It covers the classroom portion. If they do choose to come, there's an optional classroom format where they come in and just take the practice test, which some of them opt to do it, some of them opt to not do it and take the test at home. And you know, that's about like I said, a 20 to 25 hour program. So expect to spend, for a premium product like Span Test Prep, where you're getting an individual tutor that's got a lot of experience. It's going to cost between $1,000 and $1,500. You know, I think in the big picture, with college costing anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 for 4 years, a $1,000 to a $1,500 investment is really not a whole lot. If kids' scores are going up 5 points and they're getting into their school of their dreams, you know, it's a small price to pay for achieving that. And our teachers, myself included, we really love working with all types of students, and we've had some major success stories. And I can tell you about some of those if you want.
Sure, yeah. Tell me, maybe just use one example.
Yeah. Okay. So a few years back, I had a special needs student, got a 15 on his first ACT. His dream was to go to DePaul University, and he knew that in order to get into DePaul, he needed a 21. He had a very difficult time with the pacing, and even with some of the extra time that he was allowed, he had a hard time finishing the test and a hard time with some of the content. And so he devoted himself the entire summer before his senior year of high school to ACT prep. And he did not only the 6 one-hour meetings with me and the 6 tests, but he went above and beyond. And took more practice tests from me, and his parents signed up for extra sessions after that to continue improving his score. His increases over time were fairly slow. He started at a 15. He was working his way towards a 16, 17 after about a month. And then he kind of got up to 18, 19. And then he continued to do some of that hard work on his own. For him, it was 21 or bust. Like, that was it. He needed the 21. That his dream school was DePaul. He wanted to be a special education teacher. He had it all lined up. He needed the score. And so he took the test after all that hard work in September of his senior year. 2 weeks later, I got one of the best phone calls a tutor or a teacher can get, which was from him. The phone rang. I answered it. I could hear that it was this student. He was very excited. He could barely tell me the story. And he dropped the phone, and the dog was barking in the background, and I could hear the parents screaming in excitement. And then someone came to the phone. It was the mom. And the mom said, my son can't really talk right now. He's too excited, but he just wanted you to know he got a 21. And he's going to DePaul, and we thank you so much for all the work you've done, and this could never have happened without some sort of formal program like Span Test Prep. And so that's one of my favorite stories ever, because he worked his tail off to get that 21, and he earned it, and definitely reached his dream as a result.
Of course. So, Scott, what is your website?
Website is www.spantestprep.com.
Great. So, guys, I encourage you, all family members, all parents, if you have a student who's looking to take the ACT, who's looking to get into a university, with high rankings, lower rankings, anything, if you need help in ACT tutoring or standardized tests, check out www.spantestprep.com.